it's still quite interesting to me how people still aren't convinced or are convinced that we have free will when it's blatantly evident that we just simply don't. You know, I can explain the hard science part of that, but I can just go to easy to understand everyday examples like I can change your mood simply by changing the temperature of the room, and you wouldn't be none the wiser. You know, your decision making skills are altered by whether or not you've eaten. You know, pretty sure most people would agree with that. You know, the whole being hangry. You're angry because you're hungry. You know, a lot of these things that we colloquially agree with, but we don't actually take the time to actually pinpoint what those concepts actually mean. We have a colloquial name for it, but we kind of just leave it at that because as far as we're concerned in our everyday lives, that serves its purpose. But when you actually break it down, you know, it actually shows you the answer to questions like, do we have free will? Let's take an example. A person that's depressed, if I give them, a mega dose of vitamin D, all of a sudden, their depression goes away. If I give, a male, depressed and feeling weak and, anxiety, not confident, and I give him a shot of testosterone, and all of a sudden this guy has a will to live, he has drive and motivation to, achieve his goals, and, confident, just a whole new lease on life. Because these chemicals affect our brains, because our brains are chemicals. You just put chemicals on chemicals and there's a chemical reaction. But some people just simply deny that because I guess it disagrees with their preconceived notion of what they want to be true. Like for example, I'll take another colloquial example. Most people would say that drinking alcohol or being drunk is fun. Why is that? It's a single chemical, ethanol, applied to the human brain, which, we all like to think that we're different and special, but, we're all pretty much the same. We all, are, anatomically modern humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, primates, great apes. There's little nuances here and there when you get to the very specifics, but in the broad scheme, we're pretty much the same. So you take something like ethanol, this chemical, and you put it in the brain, it produces a good time for most people. Right? Think about it. You call an entire group of people crackheads, right? Crackheads. What does that mean? If you have free will, let's just break it down logically, right? So we all different. We're all special snowflakes, right? That's what a lot of these people claim. But if you take an entire group of people that you just refer to as just broad spectrum, just paint them with a broad brush, put them in a box, crackheads. So basically, there are people that take a substance and it affects them in the very similar, predictable ways. When I say a crackhead, a certain image pops up in your mind because that's what that drug makes them do. That's what that chemical makes them do. Right? So what I'm saying is every process in your brain and in your body in general is no different than that chemical, that external chemical. It's all just chemicals interacting. And what I'm saying is if those chemicals follow the laws of physics, because chemistry, it's hard science, physics supersedes that, also hard science. So what I'm saying is if there is this libertarian notion of free will, where does it come from? Where's the room for that? Everything that you attribute to a soul or whatever you want to call it can be explained by neuroscience. So I'm trying to understand where you've come to the conclusion that this thing exists. I'm just not convinced of the libertarian notion of free will because there's no room for it based on scientific evidence. It hasn't met its burden of proof.